of us.
Okay. So what do we call this podcast then?
This is the Geeks Assembled podcast.
It is.
It's about New Who.
Oh, is it?
So that's why there aren't a lot of our other members on, like Harry and Lee.
Yeah, I guess not.
Okay.
Okay, so this is concerning an episode where I guess the doctor and her fam go to a resort, and then they find out that things are not what they seem, and there's a lot of people wandering around, there's a lot of people getting killed and things like that, and a lot of people are either too busy putting out fires or too busy starting them or too busy dying or whatever you want to call it. So anybody have any thoughts on the episode, on the beginning of the episode?
Go ahead, Mikey.
So yes, for my thoughts, I didn't expect to be like an Inside TARDIS episode, but I thought it was gonna be like an Inside TARDIS episode for a minute. Then I just realized it was gonna be an outside planet-ish episode when Graham somehow got it a cube or a six thing. I don't know if it looks like a puzzle or what, but it looks like it was some transportation thing that sent him to a planet that's like looking like a spa. I think that people have been saying it's a spa, but really it's like some military base. I was surprised that they thought up the plan for it. That was just genius for a bit.
So I like the fact that the spas Mikey mentioned would look like the opera house in Sydney, and Sydney is like on fire, or all of Australia is really on fire right now. And they showed some of that in this episode. It was really incredibly timely. And then the other thing was they had monsters. Oh my gosh. This was about an alternate universe, which was fun because, the third Doctor did that in Inferno, where they went to an alternate universe. And so when they went to this alternate universe, they ran into these incredible monsters, and apparently they were radioactively changed human beings, and they looked like werewolves. They look so much like werewolves. Oh my gosh.
They don't have the ears and stuff. They don't look like werewolves, but they look like mutated aliens that have like, I don't know. I forgot. There was other aliens.
No, they had the big teeth though, Mikey, right?
Yeah, they had the big teeth. I was like, wait, what the hell is this?
And then they had the really long nose, right?
I know, that was so damn scary or what. I was like, what the hell is this? Is this some new creature? Is this some new mutated thing? Or is this some weird sci-fi shit as usual? Sci-fi is the best, everyone. No cap.
Yep. So I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really I thought it like harkened to a few things, like the Paradise Towers, because they're, Mel and the Doctor tried to go on a vacation to a resort place called Paradise Towers, and oh my gosh, it was like horrible, and there were cannibals there too, and so like that was really, I mean, there was some interesting things. There was the old couple. Like, I love this old couple. I thought this old couple really made the episode. She was waiting. He was almost ready to ask her to marry him, and Yaz blocked him. I mean, totally interrupted the proposal, and so he puts away the ring. He gets all shy. He puts away the ring, and he's like, and then they get into peril, and like they don't. It's not a comfortable peril, and I'll tell you more about that when I talk about our favorite things. But here's Alex again.
Again, now that I think about it, there is a few other Doctor. I mean, again, there is a message at the end of the episode, but and I did like it. But again, it did suffer from a lot of hyper editing and hyper cuts, and that sort of ruined the episode for me. It did remind me of The Waters of Mars. It did remind me of Smile. It did remind me of Sleep No More. The sort of Doctor Who episode or Murder on the Orient Express, where the Doctor is supposed to be cool, calm, and collected while everybody else is going crazy, or there's really bad things that are happening, or imminent death. And the creatures are scary. They are scary looking. I don't know if they're really a threat per se. They didn't feel threatening, but they were scary looking.
They were looking very scary.
Yeah, they were
very.
sort of, yeah.
They eat everybody.
They were sort of a but I don't remember them. I don't remember them showing that. Of course.
No, but they had those little red circles,
Yeah.
which used to be green circles, which were all the people.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Hundreds of
so
red circles.
I mean, it's good that they showed a little bit of threat. I don't know so much about the fam, so to speak, and they were scary looking monsters, but again, they were mutated, poisoned humans that look like bodybuilder alien monsters. Yeah, so I mean that's all right, but I think they could have done a better job with the plot and with the editing, and I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
It felt too rushed. It felt too rushed.
Yeah, well, because they did that on purpose, because they were trying to modernize it and have the same we're running type of thing.
I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, it is scary, but I'm saying that I didn't necessarily feel the threat. So I think they were trying to do like a modern horror movie, and unfortunately, the modern horror movies, they don't really show a lot of the actual threat, or they have jump scares, or they have quick cuts. So you're not sure. Yeah, you're not sure if you're watching like a modern fight sequence, or somebody's coming for you or whatever. You can't quite tell. Which that's fine but no, not to me. I want to have actual pace, and I want to have actual threat. And if it wasn't for the fact that the monsters are scary looking, it really wouldn't have had any effect at all, except a lot of noise. But like I said, that's the other thing they have to worry about is they have to make it a little bit modern. They can't just do it like the old days. So regardless of what the Facebook and the internet said, I think they're a little bit off. I understand if they're complaining about the jump cuts and the pace and the editing. That I agree with. Everything else, no, I don't agree with. And like I said, they have to change Doctor Who. They can't just have the same Doctor and the same companion forever.
Okay.
So
well, send us around for the favorite moments.
Okay, what were your favorite moments?
My favorite moments, well, there was a couple. To be honest, fair, there was the kid who actually was a genius, and the father and son were trying to think of a way to get out of the planet with the doctor's help. It was actually like father and son bonding. That was actually making me feel like, oh my god, relatable, relatable. But then again, I love when the doctor and everyone else was trying to like help to find Benji, because literally the lady was screaming for her love of her life, and literally that made me like legit made my heart broken. Like literally like Benny, Benny, Benny. And that was like almost 10 times that I think I count. Literally, it was just upsetting, but a beautiful moment. Just worrying about the people that you love. Literally, and it's really that you want to be the people with. And the vacation itself, it was very extraordinary. And when the security guard, I forgot who was the guard of that thing. Who was the name?
Her name was like Clay or something.
Yeah, Clay was like she was basically trying to like do her job, but the doctor and the team TARDIS crew, we can call them the TARDIS crew or what, they weren't very pleased with her actions. I love how they got into the mood of all with the inner darkness. That's all my favorite moments. I explained everything that I said.
All right. Well, like I said, my favorite moment was these guys. Was the stuff that they went through. The father and the son were also really adorable. Their little green hairs and everything. And but these guys, Benji, he was like, he stopped to get her hat or his.
Her hat.
Yeah, her hat. And so when they're running, he stopped to get her hat. And so the, the creatures grabbed him, and, that was really incredibly intense. And then she was like crying for him the whole time, all the way up until she had a noble sacrifice. So he sacrificed for her, and then she sacrificed nobly for everybody. And I mean, that's just something that you don't expect just like bit characters to do, except for, sometimes it happens in Doctor Who. And then to find out that the girl who's got all the bombs was the daughter of the security guard there, that was really interesting.
That was it.
That was, they were experiencing a heck of a lot of turmoil in their relationship. They were basically dead at odds with each other. So I don't know. That was really intriguing. So, what were your favorite moments, Alex?
Well, like I said, I only have a few. Again, it didn't really catch my attention per se. I'm not sure if it was the pacing. Maybe the girl that was sort of saved at the end, even though they're not really sure. I can't remember her name. That was talking to what's his name? No, Ryan.
That was another cop.
That was another.
She
Okay,
almost got kissed.
could you? Yeah, could you? Yeah. And the like I said, my favorite part was the message. It didn't seem to really impress me per se, like the other stories would impress me with the, Waters on Mars or Murder on the Orient Express or Smile or other things like that. That that plot and that environment did seem to impress me more, even though it was nice to have, some people with green hair that seemed pretty smart. And like I said, I really think they did this story on purpose to try to be, edgy. But basically, I like the message at the end, even though, like I said, I think the Kane. I think the
Fraser played it.
yeah. I like I said, I think the pacing was a little off, but I understand that they want to have a fast story. They don't want to have a slow story. So
like a two-parter, of course. They don't want to do too much two-parters.
Oh, hey, hi, Susan.
Hi.
Can you give your opening thoughts on Orphan 55 and then go ahead and go into your favorite moment?
Sorry. Well, that's Edwin. Edwin apparently liked it. So my dog. Sorry. It reminded me a lot of Voyage of the Damned, except not as well executed as far as character development goes. And I agree with Susan. My favorite part was the older couple. I just wish that there were too many characters and too many plot lines thrown at us in one short episode, and it got a little too crazy as far as keeping track of everybody's and caring about everybody. So that I think it was, if they had taken one or two, spent more time with less characters, I think I would have been more pleased with the whole thing. But yeah, my favorite part was when, don't mess with old people, because they'll do anything for each other. After, what did she say, 34 years or something? I mean, this woman's going to do anything for him, and she did. And I wanted to see more of them. I wanted to see him doing something. It seemed like everything happened off camera. That was just really cool. And I liked the moral of the story. We can't hear that often enough. Overall, as an episode, though, I thought Voyage of the Damned did much better. And it was just all those things that Alex said were true. It was just too much, too fast. So if it had just been if they had cut some more and elaborated a little more of what they already had, I think I would have enjoyed the whole thing a lot better.
So your favorite moments?
Oh, I told you the older couple.
Oh yeah, okay. So you agree with me?
Absolutely, the older couple, and I would have liked to see them actually enjoy the vacation part of the vacation for at least a minute or so.
At least enjoy the vacation while you can.
Exactly.
So the Benny character was played by Colin Farrell, who must be and the Gia Lodge O'Mealy was the one who played what's her name, Bella. And so that it's just amazing. Colin Farrell does so much, has been doing so much good stuff, and throughout.
A lot of actors named Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
It seems to be a very popular actor name.
Yeah. So so I just I really enjoyed the parts where they're fighting with whatever tools they had, especially the little bug that got in Ryan, and I thought that, I mean, that's what really caused the unity. It was quick unity with Kane's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was really awesome. And
I didn't quite understand the whole. So she's mad at her mother, so she's going to blow up an entire resort. That didn't translate for me. I was like, what?
That was a little
confusing for all of us. I was confused as well. Don't worry, I was not alone in this shit. I was confused.
Okay. That was a little confusing. I thought maybe she was a terrorist or some sort of political activist or something. But you're mad at your mom, so you're going to blow up people who are on vacation at her resort. That seemed a little overkill.
Yeah. Overkill. Killing your guests is you're killing every human being in there.
And the other one that was really cool was that Hyphen character.
Yeah, I liked her, and then they killed her off. Soon. Too soon.
Welcome to Doctor Who, everyone, where everyone gets killed off.
There was a nice big high body count in this episode, and no reset button, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That box that they got, all those coupons, put in the box.
Yeah.
It looked like one of those Time Lord trouble, Yeah,
but the Time Lord mailbox, right?
Yeah, so, here's what I think, they're doing this whole timeless child thing all this season, apparently, or maybe even next series. I don't know. I sure hope they get busy producing and go back into production right now.
Yeah, how many episodes do we have this season?
Like 10 or 11.
It's just so.
I heard we may
last 2 years ago it was 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, 2 years ago it was 10. But I mean, that's just not enough for me.
It's just not enough. I agree. It's not enough, and then have 2 years, 10. No, it's not enough.
Yeah, so they should go into production right now and get the series 13 started at this point. I mean, this is just my demand and stuff like that. So, but are
you going to get bombs and blow up a resort?
All right, or one of those kings. Build high for happiness. I don't know. I'm like, that box has got to have something to do with the timeless child.
Well, does anything in this episode?
That's why they slipped into the alternate universe.
I don't think this has anything. I think it was just a standalone episode. I saw nothing that remotely seemed to relate to that. At least nothing that referred to.
Okay.
maybe in the future they'll go back and say, "Oh, yes, and this was from blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah."
So what okay. Do you wanna
All right. Now, like I said, the unfortunately, like I said, a lot of the internet has been kind of negative on this story. It might be a little bit like aliens. It might be they've been mentioning this other story, Beneform, or some other weird thing that I haven't even heard of. And of course, it does remind me of the other horror stories that they've been trying to do. And like Susan W. said, the Voyage to the Damned. But here's the difference. Voyage to the Damned, it was a little bit more creepy because it had more charming moments. And you
I
knew
agree.
more about the characters too.
I
So when
agree.
they died or they disappeared, it actually mattered. Not that that was a perfect story by any means.
It mattered.
But yeah, this one is too fast. It also feels like it was cut 15 minutes shorter than it should be. I don't think it was terrible because again, you can't have every single story. What's that?
The 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the other issue is that because a lot of English people are criticizing Doctor Who now because it's been on for 15 years. So it's getting to be right. It's getting to be as long, almost as long standing as the original show, which was what 26 seasons. That now they're starting to go, oh, let me criticize and hate on it even more because there's no mystery anymore. Even though they changed everybody, they do every 3 years. They change everybody now.
It's a regeneration cycle.
Yeah,
You gotta
and
have
yeah. And what they're forgetting.
In your face.
And what they're forgetting is that it's not like there's 6 other science fiction, shows or series that they're creating. So they're shooting themselves in the foot. If I've even talked to a few people on Facebook, I said, "Well, if you want to change her, you don't like the writing, write to the BBC." And they go, "Oh, we did." I said, "Okay, that's well within your right. If you don't like it, that's fine." Um, like I said, most Doctor Who stories aren't bad. There's usually some good in it. It's usually some good concept. This wasn't a bad concept. I think they were just too busy trying to rush it. And so I didn't feel like there was a huge investment in knowing the story, knowing the atmosphere, knowing the characters. And like I said, the only thing I liked was the creatures and the message at the end, which is true. Unfortunately, human beings do get into a mode of we either do something because it's comfortable, we don't want to change.
That's why the story happened.
We don't think about the future or the unintended consequences of what we do. Because yeah, if we have too much plastic and it ruins the rivers, or if we have too much oil and it ruins the ocean, we need water. We can't live without trees or water.
Yeah, like
we have to have.
Tree. I thought that was a great line.
We have to have food that grows, so that we actually have nutrients and stuff. We can't do everything synthetically. And the other problem is, if it gets too hot or too cold, that's bad. But what's even worse is if we lose the sun or the moon, then we're really done for. I mean, it will be space 1999, except there won't be any ship. So it'll be even worse. So I did enjoy the end where she goes, "You're busy arguing about who's cleaning house while it's burning down." So now I also on Facebook, they said, "Oh, that's too preachy. That's too preachy." Well, science fiction is supposed to be preachy. Yeah, science fiction is supposed to be preachy. That's the whole point of it. Is it sets up a scenario, whether it's prejudice, hatred, people being different from you, running out of food, running out of time, not realizing that there's only one other person in the world, stuff like that. This nightmare fuel, as they like to call it on the internet.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. Yeah, that's kind of the point of science fiction. It's not supposed to be all superheroes and other. Just because that's gotten popular, that's not the whole scale of science fiction.
Okay, so throw it back to Mikey.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Final rate and score. We're ready to this.
Score?
Final rate.
Oh, wait a
final
minute.
rate.
Oh, hang on. Go ahead, Mike.
So okay, like if this is final rating score for my final thoughts, I'd say this episode was very gaining my flavor, my little flavor of touch. I do have to say 13 out of 13. Still, again, 13 out of 13 because the episode was great and sure, we needed a spa story anyway. The doctor and the companions did need a vacation, so get the joke. They needed a place to vacate. You get it.
Oh,
Well, anyways, that's all I have to say. So whoever's next, who wants to tell the thoughts in their final review?
how about Susan?
Well,
Yes, Susan.
When the episode first started, I was really enjoying it, and I really thought in the beginning, especially, I finally saw the doctor in her, which was exciting for me. Like when she was getting the Virus out of him, she really seemed to be her own doctor. It just was. It was very exciting, and what Alex was saying about how sci-fi is supposed to be topical, and it does get preachy upon occasion. I mean, for example, this week I've been rewatching the original Star Trek episodes, the first season.
Oh dear.
I had forgotten how good that was. There are some clunker episodes, but a lot of those episodes were so good. In fact, they're much better than some of the episodes that came in the following two seasons. And those episodes, most of them had some sort of political, theme in it. And it was just really, so this fits right in with what the genre is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so I was excited about that. Like I said, the only after the Virus, as things start, there were just too many characters and not enough time to develop them very well. They needed to cut out a couple of characters and develop a little more of the characters they had.
Huh.
That was my only really negative thing about this episode. So I guess I'd say maybe a 7 or an 8 if I had to rate it. We're rating now, right?
Yeah.
About 7 or 8. Only because I didn't think that I thought it was just they tried to pack too much in one episode. It either needed to be longer to make more character development so we cared about these people, or cut out a couple of the character relationships, the father, the son, the mother, daughter, whichever one. Pick one and get rid of them, or at least get rid of the thing, and then develop the others that were there. I would have liked to have seen more of the older couple, and about their turmoil, and about him I just would have liked to have seen more of them and what they and more of her standing up to them. And too much happened off camera.
Yeah.
So,
like I will agree. I loved that older couple, and for that reason, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. They made it, and I love the fact that he was, going in to propose.
yeah.
And then he got all shy. I mean, there's so much relational stuff in this. I mean, people trying to make connections, romantic and, family-wise, and, it was the doctor connecting with the fam and the doctor connecting with, us through this horrible situation. I agree. 10 out of 10. I agree with Mikey. 13 out of 13 or whatever.
Now Susan knows where.
So I'm going to use that from now on for this.
Yeah.
If it warrants that. And here's Alex.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna give it a 7. Like I said, the editing and the jump cut is not good. There's too many people.
Too many people.
I know they're trying hard. They are actually trying hard to do something, but I have to agree in a way. I think the writing is suffering a little bit. And I know that they have to speed it up, and I know that they have a lot of competition. I mean, Picard's back. Everybody, Star Wars is big again. They have a lot of competition to deal with. But yeah, I would have either gotten rid of some characters, or I would have definitely had one couple to focus on, and then work around, because you didn't didn't really. There wasn't really a sense of loss. That was the other thing that people forget is that in Aliens and in good horror movies, you feel a sense of loss because you know. Yeah, but you know the characters. Here you
I
didn't.
felt
You
their
saw
loss.
you saw a very beautiful situation, maybe,
Right.
but you didn't know but you didn't know the situation, and you didn't know them. You didn't know them.
I
So,
would have cried for a week.
well,
I felt
wasn't
old.
enough for me. Like I said, pretty much I like the way the creatures look, so they finally got something that looks scary.
Exactly. Those
And I did
like
like the
humanoid.
message at the end, but yeah, it just felt like a lot of. And I understand that's another complaint about Doctor Who throughout the centuries is that you don't. It does seem a little silly when you're sort of running through a tunnel or whatever. But at least with the other stories, for the most part, you actually felt, a risk. You actually felt scared. Here, you didn't feel scared. I think it was because of the roaring sound and a lot of things being thrown at you. But that's a trick that any horror movie can use.
I
So,
feel like
Yeah.
this set of companions they're being sidelined with all
yeah,
of these.
that's another thing too. Is that it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like the fam is really that important. I mean, the doctor
No.
cares about them, but it doesn't seem like they're
Not seeing.
Yeah, they're not. They don't seem too endearing. They don't seem like you're
No.
knowing a lot about them,
Yeah.
which is a shame because they're not bad actors. They are actually good
No.
actors.
I just think so far this season there's just not enough development of relationship development. It's just too much. It's fast, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Well,
And I want more.
because people were complaining that last season was too slow, so I think they intentionally, are trying to make it fast.
I loved the Rosa Parks episode last season. I thought that was pretty.
Oh, that one was very interesting. And you know what? I decided to here's the thing. When I was still in high school and Series 11 was still around, I decided to give one of my teachers that who are related to me a Doctor Who episode that was the same one that is Rosa at the time being. We were mentioning about the black and stuff and the whole double separating and what. I decided to give it to him. I don't know if he watched it, but he said, "Sure, why not?" I wanted to see this episode or so. I don't know if I can remember more, but yeah, I remember watching Rosa. That was a beautiful episode.
Okay, well, but that wasn't a quote unquote, horror movie type of thing or horror movie type of scenario.
No,
Yes, it was serious. Okay,
That was really nice.
it was Yeah, it was historical. So that, I mean, like I said, that's the other thing that people really did like. Most people did like that episode. I only, there was only like 1% of it that I didn't like, but I liked most of it, and I liked the writing as well.
What was really cool is that he took the timely episode and integrated it with his studies.
That's fine.
So are we ready?
All right. So, anybody have any final thoughts on the season so far? It's only been 3 episodes, and like I said, you can see that they're focusing a lot on style and pacing, and hopefully they start working on more of a threat, more of an emotional investment for most of the audience, and better character development because it doesn't feel like there's a lot of character development.
If people just keep getting killed off, like you just meet them and then they're dead. I mean, it's like, come on, guys. Why should I bother?
It's just like Grace O'Brien all over again.
What's that now?
It's so basically, if I were to be correct, there has been some character development with the Doctor, of course. Everyone was waiting for development for the Doctor. So, for my thoughts, the Doctor did develop. She has gone serious. We got some questions that the Doctor is trying to find out the answers to. So yeah, I can just say this: the Doctor did approve. I do approve.
I thought she improved this episode. I already said that. I thought when she first came on and she dived her way that when the actress dealt with the Hoppa virus and she did that scene, I finally felt like I felt like it was her Doctor, and I really, I felt better about that.
Okay, well, I wasn't so much saying Doctor Who as the characters and the fam, the companions. it doesn't feel like there's a lot of character development.
No, it's kind of like they turn the companions into the Three Stooges. They're like the side chorus.
Well, hopefully it's not that bad, but I understand what you're saying. But that's the other issue. The way that the Skyfall was written, there wasn't a lot for them to do. It was basically just set up the situation. Stephen Fry is killed off right away. Lenny Henry is the African guy who wants to take over the world using the smartphones, which they already did with the Cybermen anyway, with the 10th Doctor. Yeah. And then you have the Master, who is Indian or Pakistani now. But they basically focused on that. And I understand that, but they should have tried to have written a little. Yeah, it just feels like they're rushing it. They're rushing it to try to keep attention and to try to keep it moving. So I think they're doing it on purpose, actually.
Is there a particular reason that in this series there's a lot more focus on? I mean, we had an episode that was all about the country of India breaking into two, partition. Yeah. And is one of the writers Pakistani or something?
No, it's that was big time British history. Okay, like British history includes India and Pakistan because it was part of the empire.
And part of the Gandhi.
I know. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, is there a member of the?
No, I mean, who knows? The writer's room could be anybody at any time. That's what Chibnall does. He's got a writer's room.
There seems to be a lot of characters who happen to, Yaz and now the Master.
I think, like I said, I do think they're trying to modernize it, and they just need to.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
But
it isn't about modernizing. It's about this is part of history, and this is an excellent fucking evil guy who looks like the Master.
Okay, Susie, I'm trying to explain something here. Okay, yeah, I'm not against it, but I'm saying they know, and even Chibnall has said, I'm not going to, care about what the critics say. So, all right. Well, hopefully we can find a better story later on, or hopefully the next episode will be a little better.
I'm looking forward to them going to some new places in, like maybe somewhere in Asia or somewhere, other kind of people than we've seen in the last 2 seasons. That would be kind of cool too.
Well, the next episode is about Tesla and Edison, so.
It was also neat that on Earth, they didn't, when they were figured out they were on Earth, it wasn't in London, it was somewhere in Russia. Yeah. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, there's more places on Earth than London.
Yeah, keep it away from London and the 10,000 versions of London. Yeah, so I guess
New York, to be fair, they come to New York a lot too.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I know.
What I'm thinking. That's what next series is New York.
That's right. Oh, you know what? No. You see, we need a Doctor Who set in Boston. That would be cool.
That's not gonna work. Anyway, we're gonna have to
with the red coats.
That's right. Perfect.
We're gonna have to end pretty soon. The timer's ending on this pretty soon.
So just finish up.
All right. No, I'm finished.
Tell people to ding the bell. Tell
okay. Could you anyway? I'm sorry that Susan's too excited about this new series. When it's only 3 episodes in. Anyway. Keep watching if you feel like it. Keep watching Geeks Assembled and our podcast. Want to thank the other Susan and Mikey for their points of view. We have to have some other points of view besides us. And hopefully it'll get better because I want the Doctor Who to continue for another 50 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they need to come up with better character development and better villains.
Better character development, so I'm looking forward to.
That's fun, by the way. Don't forget to like.
So what's the next episode supposed to be?
Next weekend.
Do we know anything about what the next episode is?